Okay, hi everybody. Today's lesson, what we're going to take a look at today is a little bit about your portrait assignment and taking a picture of an individual. But first I want to look at light direction and light quality. So yes, I'm sitting here with the lights down low so that we can see each individual light. Now what I have on at the moment is just an overhead light, so there's no other side lights coming in. I'm getting a little bit of bounce off the walls and that, but it's kind of fun to take a look at when we single out a light direction and what it does to an individual. So I'll back up and get into the light a little bit, and as long as I'm right underneath this light, you can see the difference if I move forward and get out of that light, so it's mostly kind of behind me, or if I get the light just right and it's just on the top of my head, right? My face kind of goes a little dark and it looks a little more serious with some of that light just coming straight down from above, right? My face looks a little different, the eye sockets are a little deeper, things of that nature. So that's light coming from above. Also, that light kind of emphasizes my hair, so sometimes we call that light that emphasizes a hair light. So you can kind of see that as I move in and out of the light, so to speak. It's kind of fun to see the difference. If I move all the way back here, right now the light is in front of me, right, coming straight down, it's in front of me, versus before when I get way forward, now it's kind of behind me and my face gets very dark. So it's kind of fun how simple moving the light around can do a couple things. So let's do a couple more things here. So now what I've done is turned off the overhead lights and I just have the light bouncing off of a white card over here to my right, just coming from one direction. There's a little bit of ambient light in the room from the door over there, but not much. Most all the light is just coming from one direction. So it's kind of fun to look at, you know, if I rotate into that light on my face or if I rotate away from that light. So this is another, I guess, just fun way to look at, you know, a simple thing, keeping the light in the same spot and rotating the subject into the light, camera position, and rotating out or away from the light. So light direction has a big deal, has a big effect on how we want things to look. Now typically in this situation, right, I'm lighting this from that far side, which is the left side. So the light travel or direction is left to right. That makes sense to us because that's what we're used to, right? We're used to reading left to right. We're also used to seeing light come from above. So that light's a little higher than me and it's coming kind of across. And you can see the wrinkles and stuff on my shirt, how that highlights it. You can really see the texture, right, when we have light coming from the side, okay? Well, let's turn that one off and turn another one on here and see the difference. So now as you can see here, that light, let me get right into it a little bit, there we go. That light is bouncing off of a white card I have here, coming straight down and coming up underneath, right? Dramatically different lighting condition, you know. Come on, you did this when you were in school at camp, right? You stuck a flashlight underneath your chin and looks kind of scary. Well, it's kind of interesting to look at. This is so different because we're so used to seeing light come from above, right? The sun is usually very high in the sky except for when it's sunrise and sunset. The sun is usually quite high in the sky and we're used to seeing light come from kind of above. We're also very used to seeing light come from above in most buildings because that's where you put light fixtures, is up above, right, to shine light down onto the surfaces and our desks and things of that nature. So we're very much used to seeing light come from above. So this is kind of odd to see it coming from underneath. This again, when we look at what mood or whatever does that create, this creates something odd or interesting or different because we're not used to seeing light come from the bottom, right? In fact, this is how a lot of scary movies are shot, right? Now, it's not the only light source, but this light coming from the bottom is so different that we think something's wrong or something's got some tension in it or something's interesting, right? Again, how a lot of scary movies are shot. Okay, well, let me turn another light on here and turn this one off. Now this one is coming almost at camera position, right? Coming straight at me. It's very flat, right? There's not a lot of definition, right? But it does have a diffusion material on it. It does have a piece of fabric over the light to soften it and create some more spread or more evenness to the light source. It doesn't really have a hot spot to it. So camera position light, not very exciting in terms of flattering, right? It's soft, it's okay, but having the light close to the camera position doesn't give us a lot of dimensional depth to the image, right? It can be very flat. Remember, we're taking 3 dimensions and making them 2. So how do we build depth in our photography? Well, we start adding, right? We can add, right? We get a little bit of light from one side. Now we've got a little bit to work with. We've got some light coming in from here and some from coming in there. So we start to build depth, or we look at what we can do if we do, say, a combination. So let's turn this one on and this one off. So we start building combinations of light and see what that does to our subject, right? So I have light coming from one side, light coming from underneath. And now I can turn these lights on. And now I have got some light on the background, I've got some light on my hair, I've got light coming from one side, light coming from underneath to light up my eye sockets and my chin a little bit. And then I can turn this one on as well. And we get some nice looking light. And indeed, it's getting a little bit overexposed. Let me fix that. There we go. We added so much light that it was getting a little overexposed. But now this is kind of almost my typical light setup when I'm doing the other videos. Usually I have a light over to one side, a light off a card underneath to light up my face a little bit, the overhead lights, and I usually bounce that light off the wall over there. So we get a lot of light here to work with. Now it's not terribly flattering. We have lots of lights coming from different sources here, but it needs to be somewhat evenly illuminated so that you guys can see me well. So we start looking at what do we do with lights and light sources, and how does that make us look, right? So we just have the overheads and the one from one side. Now that's kind of neat, right? If I back up here a little bit more, I can get into that light, right? Got a lot of strong direction from one side and a little bit of fill light from up above. Remember, you can also use a reflector, to bounce light in from other locations to fill in on the side of your subject, right? So you can always use a reflector to move things a little bit and help you fill in on the side of your light source, right? I'm going to get very close to this light source, right? And I can use the reflector on this side to fill in a little bit, right? So light's kind of fun to play with and look at, and what you can create simply by a variety of light directions. So the assignment is to take a portrait of an individual or a couple of people, whatever you want. Just one picture. I mean, obviously you're going to experiment with things, but look at window light, especially if you have sheer curtains or drapes on, right? Very nice soft light source. Get a piece of foam core or a piece of cardboard or whatever, and make a reflector for the other side of where the light's coming from, so you can reflect back into the face a little bit. And try to capture some aspect of the person's personality. Now, there will also be 2 other accompanying videos to go along with this that are already on my YouTube channel. and they're called Portraiture 1 Harsh and Portraiture 2 Soft. Okay, so you can look at those two videos as well. And we could do a little bit about the same thing, but they're a little bit shorter, a little more direct to the point. Okay, so just one picture of a portrait of somebody. It can be, you can do a self-portrait. Lots of students have, right? One light from the side, lots of drama. Can be pretty cool looking, right? Lots of drama here with just one light to the side, right? Get a little closer to it. One light to the side. Lots of drama here. Good light fall off. That whole idea of inverse square law, the light falls off as it travels, right? Lots of drama here. So look at doing one portrait, one picture of an individual. It certainly can be a self-portrait if you like. And have fun with this. One picture. Next week, remember, is copyright. The week after that is the final exam. So we're on the home stretch here and looking forward to finishing this semester up strong. All right, cool. See you next week.